Hello students, I'm Professor Plinio Monteiro and this video will be aimed to discuss global channel and distribution decisions. Our main objectives here is to identify and compare the basic structure options for consumer channels and industrial channels in different markets. And also, I will give some guidelines for developing your own marketing channels when you operate worldwide. Basically, this is very important in a global marketing setting because when you talk about global marketing, you need to be able to deliver your products in different parts of the world. And this is not the first or the only task that you need to do with your marketing channels. Because, yeah, the marketing channels is it's related to the placement of your products and services in each country. But also, these strategies will create greater value for customers given time restrictions because you need to deliver it in a time that is okay for the customers. You also need to choose the correct form of sending the product for your customers, and also the channel marketings, the channels of marketing will be one major source of information. So you can get information from the suppliers, from the also from the retailers, and for all the distributors that you have around the world. But also you can understand consumer behavior by that. And this is something very important. And also this is a way of giving your customers the right information that they need to make the choice, to make a choice to buy or to use your product. Usually, when you talk about global marketing channels, we need to make the difference between the consumer products and industrial products channels. In general, you can try to make a direct sale to your customers. This is what we call a zero-level channel. And basically, by using the internet, interactive TV like Polishop, or even you can have door-to-door sales and use your own sales force for doing that. With that approach, you can also try to directly achieve your customers. And also, you can have your own stores, like the Apple stores. And by that, you can have a direct interaction with your customers. The other option is to have some in the middle, like the manufacturers and sales force, to sell the products to a retailer. And in that case, we are going to have a one-level channel in a marketing channel. Basically here, your sales force will work with the retailers and the retailers will make the contact with the customers. And it's important to notice here that as you add more intermediaries here in your consumer channels, basically your margin levels will be reduced. And the reason why is that you need to pay for the retailer, so the retailer will have their own margin level, and also the wholesaler will have their own margin levels. And because of that, you can, in this approach here, your margin level will be reduced. But in most of times, you'll be able to achieve much more markets and much more customers because you, using only your sales force, have a limited capacity to achieve a broad part of the market in different countries in the world. You can also have a channel with one level by the usage of agents of brokers. Basically, you're going to sell your product to big companies like here in Brazil, we call it like atacarejo or the wholesaler, or you can have the brokers like big companies that will buy a product in home country and sell this product worldwide. And in this other option here, you can see that in the middle you have the wholesaler, and the wholesaler will sell the product to the retailer. In that case, you have a two-level channel. You have your manufacturer sales force selling to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler selling to the retailer. And the retailer will sell to the customer. In that case, you have more intermediaries in this channel, and your margin is still smaller. But you can achieve, especially when you talk about customer products, where the number of retailers are very large and the margin are usually very small. You need to have this kind of level to be able to achieve all the parts of the market. And you can have something like this approach, where basically here you have some stress. For some retailers, you have the direct sales, and for others, you're going to use those sales for sending it to the retailer. For instance, you can sell to big retailers like big supermarkets, and for the small ones need to go to wholesalers to buy your products. And this is the approach that you use, making a direct sale, so you don't have a sales force. And basically here you're working with a contract, with a long-term contract, and this long-term contract makes basically you don't need to have a sales force for negotiating your products. You're going to sell it directly to the wholesaler, and basically if you have a product that everyone wants to have it, and it's accepted for a large portion of the market, you can use that. For industrial products, you have something similar, but as you can see here, you can try to make a direct sale using the internet or other applications or softwares. You can have your sales force to make a direct sale to the customer or to the wholesaler, and the customer here will buy a product. Remember here I talk about industries buying your products. Basically, you're producing parts and distributing these parts for different industrial customers. And lastly, you can have this approach to make direct sale without the sales force. In that case, negotiation is not something necessary or mandatory. And for global marketing channels, you can use a distributor or an agent to sell your product worldwide. So you can sell to an agent, the agent will operate in your country. Probably this agent sell different products in different countries in the world, and you can sell or give the rights to this agent or distributor to sell your product worldwide. In the indirect export, you can use this approach in global marketing, and also in some intermediate entry modes like licensing or manufacturing contracts. We have these two important elements of the marketing channels. So the distributor, he basically here he do not he will carry the product, and in most of time during some short period of time they will be the owner of this product. So this is called a distributor, and the agent is the one that will not pursue the product. Basically, he will negotiate the product, but he will not be the owner of that product that you're trying to sell. Thinking about your channel strategy, in general, you can choose between three main channel strategies. The first one is called the intensive distribution. In that case, you're trying to achieve a large portion of the market. You have a lot of segments that you're operating in different countries. And for that reason, you're going to operate with a lot of different wholesalers, and all these wholesalers will sell to the majority of the retailers. In that case, you'll be able to achieve a high percentage, to have a high percentage of coverage in the market. This is what we call the market coverage. And if you're planning to achieve the biggest segments in big or major countries, with a very popular product, you can use that. Remember that when you do that, the cost of your network will be very high, and you have a lot of risks of conflicts between different wholesalers. For instance, some wholesalers could have greater margin than the others, and this could make a conflict because your product will have different prices depending on the wholesalers and the retailers they are using. In the selective distribution, basically here when you sell all the products that you can find in supermarkets or big retailers like Carrefour and Extra, they are basically they use this kind of intensive distribution. The selective distribution, you're going to choose just some specific wholesalers and retailers. Most of the times we'll talk about some specialized market. For instance, you're trying to sell medical instruments. In that case, you're going to select the specific wholesalers that work with that kind of product. And most of the times you're trying to have also a fit between your company's brand and the brand of the wholesalers and the retailers. And in that case, you're going to create a lot of restrictions on what are the standards, what are the minimal requirements that your wholesalers need to have to operate with you. You can have some examples of that in these more specialized markets, and also in the fashion industry is very common. For instance, when you choose to have someone distributing your product and he will be the only one that can sell that product in the country, you're using or a selective distribution or an exclusive distribution, depending on how much you will restrict the distribution of your product. And in that case, you're not targeting the whole marketing, you're targeting just some parts of the market, and usually some countries. In the exclusive distribution, you're going to work with a very few and very selected wholesalers and retailers. In that case, you're going to have a very small coverage of the market. You want to have an exclusive and a very differentiated brand proposition. In that case, like luxury brands, very expensive cars, or when you target very narrow segments, you can use this exclusive distribution. Some special tips that you need to have when you look to this to develop your channel strategy. First, you need to select the distributors. Do not let them select you, unless if you let someone select you, you're going to have a lot of distributors that are not fitted to your value proposition. You need to have some select distributors that will help you in developing the market. If you need to look on the number of customers they have and selecting only these special ones that can improve your market coverage with your product, You need to look to distributors as partners. If you look at them as customers, or sometimes, or if you look to them as someone trying to eat a part of your profit, you'll be very hard to develop a good global marketing strategy with that. You need to in your contracts with the distributors, you need to ask them which kind of market and financial information they can provide you. It's very important to measure the market share, your market penetration, your profits, and the margin level of the competitors. So be aware that you need to have in your contract some way of receiving from them a lot of data. Once you choose to enter into a country, look to the biggest national distributors at first, because if you want to spread a product, you need to be present in different regions of the country. What these intermediaries will, what are the tasks that they can do? First, they can take care of your inventory, so they will take care of the products, and most of the time they can be a part of the stock that you have in the company. Also, they are very important for improving the demand and distributing the product. For sure, this is very important. And sometimes they are the responsible for the after sales service. For instance, they can make the support to the final customer, or even with there is a problem with your computer, for instance, they can be the responsible for solving that problem. In the automobile sector, this is very common. So the one that will distribute the product, the sellers of the cars, are also the ones that will fix the cars, and this is very important test that they can do. And also they can have extra credit options to your customers. So look to this kind of intermediaries that can help you in giving extra credit for improving the demand for your product. And when you talk about international marketing channels, one factor that is very common nowadays is that we have global big global retailers operating in many countries, and if you are willing to have a global presence, you need to look to some of those, and you need to offer a very good offer for them for distributing your product in many countries, not just in one negotiation per country. And once you have a very saturated market and other factors like the recession or some restrictions on the store or the shop's development, or even high operating costs, these are factors that will make that are making right now these retailers to become very big, to become one of the biggest ones. And the most important question that you need to answer in this stage is what advantage do you have that these big retailers have related to the competitors? Here are some figures from the biggest retailers in the world. As you can see, Walmart, Carrefour, Tesco, and these other ones are the biggest retailers operating in many different countries with sales reaching billions of dollars yearly. This video was aimed to discuss the main characteristics of global channel decisions and what are the role of these decisions in international marketing strategies. So this is it, students. See you in the next video.